Couple years ago, I made a video that I thought that something about incels or femcells aren't real, or like this stuff isn't real. And then I saw something called nice guy syndrome. So when I see something like that, I have to go and I had to go look it up. Is this a real thing? Because I thought it was like a diagnosis. I looked it up. It's not. The origins come from a guy named Robert Glover. Okay, and he has this. I'm gonna try to go ahead and portray. It might not be 100% accurate. It's gonna be a quick summary, but I'm gonna try to portray how what he thinks a nice guy is, because he says he used to be a nice guy, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk about what it actually is, what it actually means, and why I disagree and agree with some of the things he says, but I mostly disagree. Right? So he thinks that a nice guy is someone who tries to do things that will make people like them. They are chameleons. They in like in terms of like not, oh, I get along with everyone socially, but they're doing what they think everyone wants them to do to get along with everyone socially. So they're always looking for external validation. They like to hide things about themselves. They're dishonest. Um, Women can be this way too. Nice guy syndrome. It's like it's funny because I keep saying it. It's not a real thing, but women can be quote unquote nice guys, nice women, whatever you want to call them. Okay, and then these are the things that you're supposed to be like that a nice guy's afraid of. They are afraid of their own feelings and everybody else's feelings. They hide their desires, their sexuality. Um, it's said that they developed this as a defense system, like growing up. So it was your environment that got you into this. Um, and then you use it as a strategy. They're very passive aggressive. They're entitled. They think having their priorities come first is something that should be punished. Now, the reason I have an issue with this is because, first of all, I know we're calling it nice guy syndrome, and like it's supposed to like talk about someone who's not actually nice. But I think actually calling it like even having nice in there is going to have people think that they're actually being nice, because people believe when they have nice guy syndrome that they're being nice, and that's just not the case at all. Um, if you want to go ahead and talk about he feels a lot stronger about this than I do, in terms of like I think it's dumb, and I have totally different reasons why I think it's dumb. But on particularly with the naming, the syndrome, the like closer to a disease, he has a lot more to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him take it from here.
All right. Well, I guess that means we're on to the problematic portion of the evening. So, yeah, as you already said, we have this coinage of nice guy syndrome. Just gonna start off right at the bat. I get it. This person is coining this observation. It is definitely a great observation. I mean, when you're talking about the behavioral analysis of like us human beings and how we interact with each other, it is very easy for someone to have a perception about the world. So here we're talking about nice guys, the special focus. So if their perception of being a nice guy is to do like opening the door for her, means obviously simplifying this, but opening the door for her means that I'm a nice guy. Opening the door for her, so that means that she should go out on a date with me. Like, okay, she didn't go on a date with me, so now I'm going to be upset about the fact that I did this nice thing and she didn't give me this. Um, but like that's already a premise in life where you can do everything right. Already outright a premise. So there is no, I mean, the idea of doing everything right technically already weird, right? Because if you do everything right, you shouldn't fail. But you would have to know what all the right things are. And to know what all the right things are in the first place, like no one really knows those things. And so to narrow it down to this, oh, it's a syndrome or this thing, this specific disease. I know he's not trying to make it a disease, but whatever you bring syndrome, that's kind of, that comes out to me. No, it's a typical behavioral issue that any person already has, and now we're trying to specify it to like our ideas about what nice is and isn't, and that's why you're having this weird dilemma between we're talking about guys because I think it presents more into males because males tend to have the issue of, oh, I'm being a nice guy and all the girls want bad boys. in any typical trope of a TV where they all the girls like the bad boys, and usually the offering is protection. And then this nice guy can't offer me protection, but he's doing all these nice things, so they like me and blah blah blah. But that is a ridiculous notion, and because it's already a ridiculous notion to begin with, to try to stem it into this idea of, oh, it's going to be a syndrome that people, no, no, no. You need to already have your understanding of what nice people are, and we need to come together and decide what they are, because we don't know. Because anybody can say, I think a nice person is this, and I can do this. Anyone can believe that they are a nice guy. And this is where Patriot here is going to delve a lot more into, where because this belief takes place, and this is where I think the coinage, why the person ended up coining it to syndrome, is because once the belief takes hold is where you have a lot more of the negative behavior. If you're believing that you are a nice guy and you do bad things, you'll never see those things as bad, and that belief will take root. But that it being a nice guy syndrome is a problem, because you can believe you're a tough guy and then you can have problems with it. The inherent issue with this is believing you are something, but then your actions do not showcase what you actually believe yourself.
So I'll go here and say that my biggest gripe with like nice guys in general. I mean, they're not nice guys, but they think they're nice guys. And I think too many times when we talk about this, we try to portray them in a way that's not negative. So, like, we have incels, right? But incels, they're seen very negatively. They hate women, but they don't hate women. They want relationships with women. Nice guys want relationships with women. To me, they're not that much different than incels because they think that they deserve something, or that they're better. And like when I saw comments on topics like this before, people were arguing me down, saying that I wouldn't understand or that's not the case and things like this. And so when I heard this guy, and like when I talk about this guy, I'm talking about Robert Glover. He put out a video probably 7 9 months ago, and it was an interview, and I'll put it in the description for you guys to see. But I don't think he described it in a way that would really push like how negative it really is. Now, I didn't read his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, so maybe he did portray it negative. To be fair, it was an hour interview, and his book probably has a lot more information on what he's trying to say. But based off of that, I felt like, because of course he said he used to be a nice guy, I think the way he was, maybe he's not the worst of them, and he says he's recovering. He's an integrated man now. But my problem with that is, with that bias in mind, I think that he didn't properly show how bad it actually is. So like let me give you a couple examples that he gave of complaints that these people had. For example, these are things that they say, right? I'm a nice guy. I'm one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I treat her better than her ex. I'm raising her kids. She's angry all the time. Nothing I do is good enough. When is it going to be my turn? She never wants to have sex. I give her everything she wants, and nothing's good enough. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay. You're doing all the wrong things. If you're like, this is like, I don't understand how you can even get to a situation where, I mean, obviously I can't see it because I'm not like that. But when you're talking about like believing it, we just had an argument off camera, and I don't necessarily think that what he's saying is wrong. But let's say you completely believe these things, because you can believe certain things and not act on it and not be problematic to other people, right? You're not an issue to other. As long as they're not bothering me, it doesn't matter. As long as they're not bothering other people, it doesn't matter. But I think the problem with someone, if you were to give someone this advice who is a nice guy and they're trying not to be a nice guy anymore, and when I say not be a nice guy anymore, I don't mean literally being a nice guy. I mean being the perception of a nice guy, okay? I think if you were to tell them, hey, just don't act on it, but still do the things you're doing because the things you're doing is good, the problem is they believe that thing. So if you genuinely believe you're a nice person, but you feel like you're better than this person, you're lying to show an image of yourself. It doesn't have to be big lies, can be little white lies. Um, and you want sex, but you're not portraying that. And then when you get rejected, you don't show her that you're mad at it, but you are mad yourself. Or maybe even you try to separate it, but you are still like you're going to feel some type of way about it. I think that type of behavior or even that thinking is problematic for that person, even if you're not an issue to anyone else. So I think you have to kind of try to get away from that type of thinking to get away from the behavior, because how can you not feel that type of way about something when you think that way about something? You're going to feel it. Even if you don't act on it, you're going to feel on it, and maybe one day it'll be too bottled up and you will act on it. So like when I take that into account, I think I just think people who think like this are bad people because you are expecting something in return. Now, here's my thing. The biggest thing that I do agree with him on is when he says these people hide their desires. He started talking about why this impacted relationships, right? So let's say you're being a nice guy. I open the door. I'm listening to everything she says. I listen to her complain about things. I buy her things. I'm taking care of her kids, you know? But there's no conflict in your guys' conversation. Essentially what some of these new people would call simping. But like it's even different than that, because Sims I feel like even kind of like some Sims can be nice guys, but some of them even show out their desires. But if you don't have any tension in the relationship, and this is what Robert Glover was talking kind of said, whereas like tension and drama can be the spark for a relationship to start. So if you don't show any of that and you hide all of it, of course she's going to think of you as a friend. The most true thing he said during that video was men put themselves in the friend zone. Because if you don't even flirt, if you don't say, if you avoid any type of that, how is she going to know you're interested? She might think you're interested in it, but why would she then become interested in you when you're not giving her any of the type of attention that would warrant that type of attention back? So like that's a big problem when it comes to like I think relationships because if you kind of have to create that tension, and then with that tension you will know if there's something there. If you flirt with someone and they don't take kindly to it or they don't receive it well, you know to back off. Okay, you don't have to keep going. That's where it stops. But that's the type of like rhetoric I really don't like, because again, I don't think he went hard enough on how bad it was. And to point to something like this, for example, the in that video interview asked a question that's something like what did he say? He said, why do people who feel like they're a nice guy or have this type of behavior repel women? If you're doing these things, why do women not like that type of thing? Why would they go back to the bad guy, the guy who hurts women or treats his women like shit, cheats on her? Why would they go back? And my biggest takeaway is if you are portraying an image, doing things to put out an image that's not yourself, so you're not authentic, how can that woman, and she feels like you're doing, like people might not know you're doing this, but they might feel like you're doing this. Obviously they can tell because it's not working for you. They won't feel your feelings are genuine. Now, this guy that's treating them like shit, he's not hiding his feelings or his desires. He's a piece of shit, right? So, regardless of that, if they do show any type of affection, the bad guy, then it's genuine. Because why would they lie about it or hide it? Now they could be lying about it to get money, they could be lying about it to get sex, sure. But so the nice guys are doing the same thing. They're just being nice to do it. Whereas the bad guy is doing piece of shit things. But to me, I don't really see the difference, and other than that the other guy's being way more authentic with himself. Yes, he has other problems he needs to fix, but that doesn't change the fact that that might feel more genuine. And he's doing things that show, oh, he does want this type of relationship with me. Oh, he does want this. And that tension is there, and she's agreeing to it. So you can't be mad when you don't put any of that out there in the air because you're too afraid to fail or you're afraid to get rejected. Then wonder when you ask her out why she said no. I did all these things. I thought you were doing all these things because you were nice. It's not nice if 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 a guy was being nice to you and they said, "Hey man, I take you to work. I help you out when you ask me for a little bit of money, bro. You're not giving me any ass. Do you think he's a nice guy, or do you think he's a fucking weirdo?" Now, to be fair, you're like, well, that's not even my sexuality, but it doesn't matter. If someone expected that, you would not think he's a nice person. So hiding that, I think, is more beneficial, even if you don't think it is, to just go ahead and say it and then just get rejected straight out. Straight out. You need to be able to say what you want. Maybe not straight out the gate. Like, I'm not saying go say, hey, I want to have sex with you. That shouldn't be the conversation starter 99% of the time. So 1% of the time it'll work. But it shouldn't be the conversation starter. But you should be able to show clear intention or interest in the person you're talking to. I don't know if you have something.
To wrap around the whole thing, two of the main things, I would say the first is two of the main issues is perception of niceness. First, don't even want to call this nice guy syndrome anymore. I'm just gonna refer this to snake because it's just what it is. It's snake behavior. I was trying to think of another fraudster that would like be good. But I couldn't think of any like big fraudsters. So if you think of another fraudster, put in the comments, let us know whatever behaviors we can call this. It'd be kind of tight. But it comes down to like, if I believe I'm a nice person, and what I often find is that usually people who are genuinely nice don't even off rip. So if you're already perceiving you're a nice person, you might not be first. But let's say you do. You're a nice person. You perceive yourself as a nice person. When you believe that you're nice and you believe are nice, there becomes a problem with some people where they believe that the beliefs matter more than the results of those beliefs. For example, believing in God is awesome, but believing in God does not make you good. You say you believe in God, then one, I would argue that you don't actually believe God. That's kind of the problem. But a person can say they truly believe in God. Believing in God is just saying that they exist. I can believe in the devil too, but I could be worshiping the devil. Like now you're talking into a whole different aspect of what they're actually doing. So if your actions, if you say you believe you're a nice person, but all your actions are hurting people, you believing you're a nice person means nothing. However, it is a problem because you believe it, so you keep doing all of these harmful actions to these people. If you're who's going to look at your actions, see how the actions actually not doing that and making those adjustments out the gate, you are not a nice person. I can just tell you you're not, because one action for one person, a fun action for the next person. Enjoy that. Some people you can scare and joke around with at work and it's fun and they like it and it makes them have a great work life. Other people, they hate it and they would want anything more than not pull a prank on them at work. It is. And a nice person understands that those are both different things. And what they don't do is go, you should like pranks, and keep trying to prank the person that doesn't like pranks. That makes no sense. That person is not nice. Them trying to force the other person into doesn't make them a nice person. Yet, that's how on in certain ways. Like, well, if you thought the way I did, then well, can't you say that about you? You thought the way they did. Little compromise. Anyways, and the second big thing had to do more with what you're saying towards the end. Um, like the genuineness.
You're not genuine. Your feelings are genuine. You can't be mad at someone for a piece of yourself.
Yeah, I can't exactly remember what wording I had. First issue is that or no, they don't know that they don't know what night. And yeah, just more with the fraudulent. Oh, more on the fraudulent aspect because that they don't even know they're doing the wrong thing because they don't nice and they're not trying to find out what is actually nice or is the fraudulent aspect because I used to think about this back in college because when you're trying to date somebody, it's a weird concept to be like, let's put our best stuff out there and we're gonna go on this nice like pretty date and wear all these pretty things. Now, if you do that normally and that's what you like to do, totally fine. That's what you should do for your date. If you normally sit at home and watch TV, and that's what you normally do on a day to day, that's totally fine. But something like that should be your date. There's no point in trying to connect over some weird magical experience and then find out that both of you go home and do completely different things that neither of you like to do. If your goal is to be with somebody for the long haul, then you should like the things that you do on a daily basis. What you do once a year doesn't actually matter. It genuinely doesn't. Most people can suck it up for one day, for 1 month, to just do whatever the person wants to do once you actually care about it. So when you're talking about these people who are quote unquote nice guys and they're putting out this whole fraudulent person in order to get this validation, and I'm going to pretend that I'm this super cool person so that they think I'm this super nice person, well, then you're going to get just the standard, okay, I think you're like this cool person. People don't fall in love with NPCs. You can only make a cookie cutter version of that person. That is the best you're gonna get. There's no uniqueness that you can add to that, and the uniqueness is what people tend to fall in love with and tend to like grab onto and gravitate to. So if you can't figure out who you are within all of that, of course, I think you should try to be the best version of you can be. It still has to be a version of you. You like there's no point of just getting rid of all of you just to make somebody else happy so that you can be sad at the end. Well, then you can't be mad at the other person. Your goal was to make them happy. Your goal was satisfied. Oh, but I wanted sex too. But what, then you should have made that your goal. You should have done things that would get you sex. But I want to be a nice person. Sometimes you got to pick and you got to take your L. Sometimes you just got to take the L. Like, what do you want? You want her to think you're a nice person? You want her to think you're a sexy person? Like, I don't like. What is she looking for in order for you to get that? What are you listening to for her to say? Like, you can also be a nice person and still get sex, but you have to think about what she wants and what she's talking about. Are you, or are you just, oh, I made her smile, so like, why didn't I get? You can make your friends smile. They trying to fuck you all the time. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
I think I think the if you're gonna take anything away from this, first of all, if you feel like you're a nice guy, or let me fix that. You feel like you have this snake behavior. You're trying to change it. I genuinely don't want to call you someone who is one of the fake nice guys because you're trying to fix your behavior, right? And if you're going to take anything away from this, I think you have to be okay with being a little risky and putting yourself out there. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, everybody. The best thing I can say, be yourself. Because like the easiest way I say things like when I go out into the world, I 100% just do the things I want to do. Okay, I talk about the things I want to talk about. I don't really care about anything else. And then the people who come around me when I do those things, those are the people I want to be around because I'm not saying that I don't ever like I don't care about anybody else's issues or that I don't do these other things, but like at the end of the day, if you're looking for these type of things, if you're looking for these type of things, you have to do things like that. And this is more important to people who, because it's really easy to say that if your likes are something that's much acceptable, right? But I think you should be okay with things that you think you're maybe not proud of. If you fucking play card games, fuck it. If you fucking play if you watch anime, fuck it. If you like, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, who cares about someone who doesn't care about your hobbies and then is going to go out of their way to then make fun of you for those same hobbies, you know? I mean, why would you want to be around that person anyways? Oh, that person's not gonna be your friend. Oh, bye. You're never gonna be my friend anyways. We don't like the same shit. We don't talk about anything, and now you're trying to shit on me. Um, is what it is. But that was another episode of Part Time Rambles. We do that here. We ramble a little bit. If there's anything, any disagreements, anything you guys want to talk about, or any different type of topics you wish we'd argue about, because we argue a lot. We have a very big difference in opinions. Even with this, we had a couple arguments on how we thought things should go and which way and what was more important and not important. If you want to see more arguments and stuff like that, put out a couple of topics and we'll pick one that we are actually against each other on, or tell us something and we might argue with you guys down in the comments. I'm okay with arguments, but just keep them. I don't even want to say constructive. Just don't call me out my name. I won't call you out yours. That's all. Yeah, that's it. Y'all have a good one.